Want to find your seat for the event of your choice but can't get one that fits your desire or your budget? Well, my friends, SeatGeek has you covered. SeatGeek is the official sponsor of the Snake Sports Talk Show. With a list of over hundreds of events to choose from, SeatGeek will assure you that you won't miss your seat with the amazing view of your choice at the most affordable price. Whether it's looking for your best seat in the house of your favorite sports team, finding live concerts to get you closer to your favorite artist, or enjoying your spot at your favorite live shows, comedies, and more, SeatGeek has it all just for you. Go online to SeatGeek.com or download the app on your mobile device through Google Play and the App Store. And as a special offer before checkout, use promo code SNAKESPORTS and save yourself $20 off of your purchase of your first ticket and experience why SeatGeek is the most trusted ticketing app for your next event. Remember, that's SeatGeek.com and download the app on your phone with promo code SNAKESPORTS for $20 off and find your seat with SeatGeek.
And now, broadcasting live from Las Vegas, the Snake Sports Talk Show with Jake Silva starts now.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We are back and live here on a Monday here on the Snake Sports Talk Show. We are live in snowy Denver. Wherever and however you may be watching and listening, thanks for making us a part of your beautiful day here on a Monday. iHeartRadio, YouTube, Twitch, X, Instagram, now TikTok Live is where you can follow, subscribe, and hit the bell button to keep you up to date on future and past shows. We've got tons to talk about, taking a break from interviews today, and you know how it is with me. We've had an awful lot of overhauls of interviews, and I'm just right now just taking a bit of a break. I'm excited though. But today we basically have clarity. I'm going to touch upon that. But March Madness, as you know, my bracket's already at 60%. So March Madness tournament has really been something else. I've been excited about it. It's been really, really good. But my hope is that North Carolina ends up winning the tournament. That's the only thing now that I care about than all this other stuff, because men's basketball up to this point, it's kind of just been a snooze fest. But I've watched lots of interviews, and I've also watched a bunch of highlights with Caitlin Clark and with how Iowa has basically been playing. So I'm really excited about this. Appreciate you, Yogi. Thank you for tuning on in. All right, so this is now the time to basically talk about it. And first and foremost, let me just educate my viewers and listeners. So for people that have known me well for a long, long time, before I tapped into my inner self and now started to be a radio talk show host, beforehand, I was originally going for policing, and this was something that I've always dreamed of since the second grade. Now, for the record, I did not end up getting the job for multiple reasons. One, missed a test, but in the end, it kind of panned out. It panned out just fine because I started to find my other niche. Now, for people that are curious as to why I wanted to go into it, is because I wanted to be a detective. I wanted to be somebody who was basically in the middle of the investigations, the one who was basically collecting all of the facts, all of the evidences, so that way, as America's honesty mind, could basically break it down to all of you. Because I know this day and age, I'm seeing it left and right. Comments from many people. They are so outraged by what has happened in Major League Baseball, and they're outraged with the Shohei Ohtani thing. I was not. The reason I was never going to tap into this is because I don't have the facts. I don't have the news story. So for my audience, my viewers and listeners now, that you could basically see this. Here's now the news lately on Shohei Ohtani, and we finally get the press conferences. We've got 2 bites. I will let you guys listen to them. I apologize for my audience, for my listeners, but here it is. Take a listen.
まずはじめに、僕自身は、何かにかけたりとか、誰かに代わって、そのスポーツイベントにかけたりとか、それをまた頼んだり、っていうことはないですし、僕の口座からブックメーカーに対して、誰かに送金を依頼したことももちろん全く、ありません。
So I never bet on baseball or any other sports, or never have asked somebody to do it on my behalf, and I have never went through a bookmaker to bet on sports.
結論から言うと、彼が僕の、口座からお金を、盗んで、なおかつ、みんな僕の周りもそうですね、みんなに、嘘をついていたっていうのが、結論から言うとそういうことになります。
Just to kind of just go over the result, in conclusion, Ippei has been stealing money from my account and has told lies.
So Ippei Mizuhara, who was the former translator for Shohei Ohtani, basically stole $5 million from Shohei Ohtani. $5 million. Okay, and this was the fact I needed to hear, what all of us needed to hear. So those of you who have followed up on baseball and have followed up on Shohei Ohtani, I think Shohei Ohtani is a great gentleman. And he's arguably one of baseball's faces in the league. Two-way player between pitcher and also hitter. This guy is incredible. But before he came to the States, the kid, just like most of us, grew up with a childhood, grew up what was right, what was wrong, and in the same time, never took anything for granted. So when people started seeing this news about Shohei Ohtani, and the PR department basically said, well, Shohei Ohtani basically gave Ippei, his former interpreter, he gave him money as a gift. And then they said, oh, no. Ippei actually stole money from Shohei Ohtani. Now the facts are there. Ippei Mizuhara is now fired. He's no longer in the Dodgers organization. And so the fact of the matter is that Shohei Ohtani is a clean slate. He's clean. He's clear from all this. So the Dodgers now have their superstar back. And for many of you who were very emotional throughout this whole thing, thinking that Shohei Ohtani should get the Pete Rose treatment, go read an audiobook. Go and study up on what happens when you think based upon emotions without presenting the facts. Facts do not care about your emotions. That's the reason I wanted to be a detective, because I don't make decisions based upon emotions. I make them based upon facts. I make sure that I gather up all the evidence. I gather up everything to my power, to everything that I possibly can, to making sure I've got the right stuff. And so Shohei Ohtani in this whole conversation, he's clean. Shohei Ohtani is freed from this. So from this point on and this point forward, Shohei Ohtani goes as a free man. And Ippei is now fired. Rightfully so. You steal money from somebody who is arguably one of the biggest faces in Major League Baseball, shame on you. That's how I would feel. And so in the end, Shohei now has lost $5 million from his interpreter because of gambling problems. Apparently has basically been telling lies to Shohei Ohtani. So this had nothing to do with Ohtani at all. None. The interpreter now has basically been put on the case, and it's as I have predicted. This is what happens when you get the full facts. You start to find clarity. Isn't that why we love the NFL free agency? Because many of the signings, Many of the moves that have been done from multiple teams give us clarity, give us understanding. I love Shohei Ohtani. I think the guy's incredible. I would love to watch Shohei Ohtani out here in Denver at Coors Field when the season starts. It's not because that, the Rockies and all the rest of it. I would love to see Shohei Ohtani in person because he's very influential. He is big in the game of baseball next to Mike Trout and Mookie Betts and many other players. So to have a player at this day and age basically be put on the pedestal and basically be tested whether or not that Shohei Ohtani is either guilty or he's a free man. And I honestly think Ohtani at this point, because he does not take anything for granted. He doesn't. And so I agree with it. And I think ultimately this was the right thing to do. So I was very happy of the fact that Shohei Ohtani goes out as a free man. I really am. Many people will agree with that. I mean, ultimately, the funny thing that I basically look at with this whole Shohei Ohtani thing is now people can finally lay to rest all those pitchforks and those flame torches. You can lay him to rest. Shohei slid me $25K. But the thing is that when you have the facts, you get clarity. That's what it is. You know what I would be outraged by? I just saw an article on my home state in Nevada, okay, in Vegas. What I'm outraged by, they are now 50th amongst all 50 states, that the cost of living is horrible. For a single person to make a living in Las Vegas now, you have to basically earn $45 an hour. That's what I'm outraged by. For families, you got to be making more than $300K a year. So why are nobody talking about this? I'd rather be outraged by that than to be outraged on something I don't have the full facts on. So get with the program and get educated. Many people who could basically see my TikTok live right now understand what I'm talking about. When you don't have the facts, you do not have clarity. Now you're basically thinking based upon emotions. And so in the end, yes, Shohei Ohtani is looking for an interpreter now. Anybody who's bilingual, who can speak Japanese and who can speak American, definitely feel free to be Shohei Ohtani's interpreter. But do not steal from his account. Okay, that's not fair. That's not right. They're paying you well enough. You should not end up being greedy. But in Vegas, that's what I'm outraged by. $45 an hour? And I live up here in Denver. The cost of living is just about the same. But the pay is fair. The gas prices are cheaper. And it's not bad. Okay, Vegas's gas prices was already at like $4.70 before me and my wife left. And we decided to end up looking for somewhere else. So I'm not going to act based upon emotion. I'm not. You want me to be outraged? I'm not going to be. I now have the full facts. Shohei is a free man. He's off the hook, and the translator is gone. I'd rather, like I said, I'd rather hear the truth from him and himself. And then in the end, I'd be investigating the interpreter. But we now have the full facts. The interpreter has stolen $5 million from Shohei Ohtani. Absolutely just disrespectful. And then in the end, he lied to him. Basically saying that he had gambling issues, lied to Shohei Ohtani into his face because Shohei had never bet on baseball or any other sport because he understands. He reads the fine prints of contracts for those who might not have. When you read the fine prints of contracts, then you can greatly understand why. So I'm happy for this. And the Dodgers could basically say, we're back to our scheduled programming. Our superstars coming back. The Dodgers are going to be playing great. Because, listen, I love my folks. I love my parents. But when I get a call from my pops being outraged because of the fact that, they're just going against the Dodgers. They're always finding everything against the Dodgers in Los Angeles. I mean, like, whoa, timeout. Okay. I've already talked about the World Series stain. Okay. In 2017, I'm not taking that. That's like asking somebody, and I hate to be very graphical upon this, but this is basically asking somebody to put their hands on a murder situation and basically saying, hey, it's okay. Go ahead and take it. I'm not touching it. I'm not touching a stained trophy. I'm not going to be basically the one that I'm going to have all my fingerprints, all my hands on because the trophy's stained. This is why there's an asterisk in 2017 with the Astros and Dodgers. Oh, and for Dodger fans, by the way, you lost the World Series, by the way. Starting pitching gave up too many runs. Guys were hitting for the fences too much. They were not thinking of small ball hitting, so I'm sorry that I hurt your feelings there. But you did not end up winning the World Series, and then you got your asses handed to in 2018. You won a World Series in a short year. Good for you. Try winning it in a full 162-game slate. Okay, but do not be outraged by this, because I certainly am not. Okay? The facts are the facts. That's my mic drop. Thanks for flying United. So, boy, I got to tell you, though. I mean, I've been watching a little bit of March Madness, and here and there. And again, I mean, why should I even be outraged? It's March Madness, for God's sakes. It's a fun time of year. I'm not I'm not going to be outraged. I'm not going to lose sleep over this. But now we have the facts. Now we understand that the interpreter's the one in the wrong. So I'm not going to lose it. I'm not going to lose my stuff. Sorry, but I refuse to do so, and rightfully so, because I don't have that many gray hairs yet. I'm only 29. I'm 29 and I start thinking clearly because I just don't have time to be outraged. I don't. Call it what you will. You know how many times people are like, I've approached a lot of people and said, well, you're young. You're young-minded. You don't understand. I stay current every day. Okay. As a 29-year-old, I try to stay current every single day of my life because it's important. Read audiobooks. Learn a new language. Get educated. Don't be outraged by the smallest stuff. If you want to be outraged by a lot of people in our governments. That's the only reason. Be outraged that the cost of living doesn't seem to make sense, even in my hometown. It doesn't make any sense. So that's what I would be outraged by, but not for this. All right. I'm going to take a quick break from here. When I come back, we're going to talk a lot more about this, but now the news is official that the Denver Broncos, the Minnesota Vikings, and multiple teams now have been reporting they are going to want to trade up in the draft. I'll give you exactly my full thoughts up on that because this is exactly what I anticipated in the first place anyway. But who is going to be willing to take the top spots? I'll have all of that here right after the break. All right, folks. Well, it is that time of year where March Madness has been absolutely electrifying, and it just gets better and better. For those of you that basically lost out on your opportunity in the $1 million contest, fear not, because BetUS has you covered, as they always do, as America's favorite sports book. BetUS has all of the best sportsbook lines for you to choose from, whether single bets or parlay leg bets, whichever to choose from. I absolutely love it when I have the parlay bets. It's the best. But here's a new thing you guys should check out on BetUS.com. BetUS now, when you sign up during the Sweet 16, you will have a chance and an opportunity when you put in a $100 deposit down to get your free entry into the $10,000 contest throughout Sweet 16 as a way of not missing out during the March Madness tournament and a chance for you for a second chance. Talk about a second chance shot, right? Just like I always say. BetUS.com has you covered in all the best sports books and also in the best casino play. Go online to BetUS.com now. $100 deposit in gets you a free entry into the $10,000 contest for your second chance shot during the Sweet 16 in the March Madness tournament. Don't miss out. BetUS.com. BetUS, where the game begins.
Listen up, sports fans. Your favorite sportsbook, BetUS.com, is back for our 28th year of NFL action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers our members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite sports, including NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. We've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest new European slots, and our live dealers are waiting for you at the table. Sign up at BetUS.com today to get into the action. BetUS, where the game begins.
Snake Sports Talk Show is sponsored by Muscle Tech, with hundreds of supplements and vitamins to choose from, all packed with 100% all-natural proven ingredients. You can be sure that Muscle Tech will give you the edge and the boost to train and look like your fit and healthy best, whatever your goals are. Try Muscle Tech today and use promo code SNAKESPORTS to save 30% off.
I want it. Gotta make to myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top.
Yo, no, I ain't the type to give up. If I do something, man, I do it till I get what I want. I turn a business out of nothing into something I love. I got a poker face, but honestly, I'm not one to bluff. I flip a switch, never miss, man, I always stay up. Don't let them see you, bitch, always have a plan to stay tough. This life ahead of you ain't easy, it was built to be rough. But that's what makes a personality is tragedy, bruh. So keep your head on your shoulders, now we ain't out here moving rock.
Don't lose your seat today when you end up going online to SeatGeek.com and use promo code SNAKESPORTS for $20 off of your purchase of your first ticket, whether it's your next sporting event or it is your next concert with your favorite artist, and many, many more here on SeatGeek.com. Download it also on your mobile device through Google Play and the App Store. So, I figured I basically would bring this up, but this is a great topic up on it. But so it is official in the NFL that the NFL now has approved the rule. There will be no more hip drops in the NFL. It's now a 15-yard penalty. It's banned. Players are going to basically get penalized for it. So a lot of people wanted my opinion on the rule. And so here's what I have to basically say upon this. No, I don't believe the NFL is getting softer. I think what they're doing is that they are precisely experimenting on the whole deal. So here's my thought. If this works out right, where players are much safer, they have more games they play, but as I said, the part that also goes into existence is the preseason. The amount of games that we play in preseason, I've always said, have at least 2 games in the preseason and then be done with it. That's it. Why should we honestly end up, putting more games up out there? And now a lot of people have learned from Sean McVay, basically sitting a lot of their stars. Many young coaches who are now starting out as head coaches in this league are basically pivoting to that. They're pivoting to that role. They're pivoting to that idea. So now the hip rule, and as I've said before, I don't think this is meant to be softening the league. Many people, as I know, when it comes to being outrageous by this whole thing, they're like, Jake, we might as well be playing two-hand touch or playing flag football. This is ridiculous. The league is getting soft. My thought with this is, I think the league is particularly experimenting this. Now, if you want an honest opinion on something when it comes to players' health, player safety, get rid of the fake turf. It doesn't work. Players have had turf toes. They've had knee injuries. Go ask Jordan Poyer because he explained about it in the podcast. He's tired of it, and he gets hurt from it. And rightfully, I would be pissed off if that came the case. Now, again, I'm sure that there's, taxpayers' dollars that's involved when it comes to the amount it takes to basically put actual natural grass on the field than it is of just AstroTurf. But I know a lot of people are basically outraged by this hip drop rule now, as hip dropping is banned in the NFL. Now, the curious case I have about this is, what does this mean if a tackler, a defensive player, he goes to make a tackle, and the offensive player who has the football in his hands and is running just so happens to shed the tackle? Then what happens then? Does he have to just basically drop his hands and just let the runner roam free? I mean, you could say this might not go well, but it's worth experimenting and trying. In the end, I cover all of this. I've watched this several times. And I think the hip drop rule, who knows? I don't think it's necessarily bad to experiment, in my opinion. But in the end, I know when the NFL, when it comes to player safety and when they're trying to keep players healthy out and on the field, I understand that. But I think, honestly, I don't see this really panning out well, respectfully, for many reasons. But I think the part in this is that NFL wants players more on the field. I don't blame them. I get it. It's more football. Everybody loves it. Everybody loves content. They all love football. I do too. But I also want to respect players' health, both physically and mentally. And, in the end, here's the other thing. If you're going to basically ban this rule, then I guess in the end, when you're in high school or you're in Pee-wee, you should be teaching your kids how to tackle better. Tackle up front. Shoulder check. Use a shoulder rather than use your head. Because then in the end, that saves head and neck injuries. And even if you take a hard hit and you get penalized for that hard hit, I'd rather you just drop the shoulder. Because then in the end, it's a clean enough hit. They cannot end up, arguing the fact of, did he use his head? They can't, because it's hard to see it. So I think in the end, regardless how you feel about it, I don't know if this is honestly going to be a rule that's going to pan out. But like I said, if you teach these kids how to tackle better, maybe we might actually have a little bit of better football, because football is a violent contact sport and everybody knows it. But look at hockey. It's the one thing I'm outraged by. It's not by the fights. It's not by the constant shoulder checks. It's about those who are basically that if their head is below and somebody comes in to check them on the boards, that's a back neck injury. That's career ending. So when people end up checking there, of course I'm going to be outraged by it, because that's player safety. And they should be penalized for that, and rightfully so. That's the one thing you don't realize in hockey. By the way, a lot of these young kids that are playing in hockey these days, they're all getting roughed up. Now these guys have to eat more. They got to beef up. They got to bulk up because they realize they're getting hit a lot more. So that means shoulder injuries become a problem. That means neck injuries become a problem. And even for those who basically swipe at the legs, either breaking kneecaps or broken fibulas from down on the shin down, yes, it's very painful. But listen, I've played football before, and I have witnessed broken ankles, and I have witnessed twisted ankles. I've even witnessed ACL pops, many of them. They're not fun. But you know what you signed up with the second you end up playing in the NFL. Okay? In the fine prints of them, you are very susceptible to these injuries. It happens. This is why you got to have the best health insurance. You got to get covered. You get covered for a broken arm, you're good. Nobody wants to spend all their days on medical bills. None of them do. But let's just see how this hip drop rule really does. I mean, if they're going to end up banning it and it becomes a 15-yard penalty, you know how many people are going to be absolutely outraged by this? And this is the other thing. I feel for a lot of players, either in high school or in college, who are basically transitioning from defense to offense. Look at the corners, look at the safeties, look at the linebackers. I don't necessarily have a problem with the defensive front lines because they're normally contested with offensive linemen all the time, every snap. So they don't usually have problems, but edge rushers and linebackers and corners and safeties, they are the ones that are more vulnerable to this because they're like, well, then how in the hell am I supposed to tackle properly? That's what they're asking the league. Because if I can't do hip drops, how am I supposed to tackle them? Tackle them up front. Basically, go at them with full force. Just don't use your head. Just use a shoulder check. That's the only thing. You'll definitely save yourself more of the injury if you basically do shoulder checks or you basically hit them upright. But again, I'm curious to see how this works. But again, if it does work to its best of its extents, then we have something to talk about later on, and maybe this is beneficial. Maybe this does keep a lot of players on the field. But in the end, I'm not sure exactly how that this is going to pan out, but that's as far as I could possibly end up explaining about this. Time now for the news.
This is the Hot Press.
All right, so lots of news happening all around in the ESPN world as we look at it. So as you know, we just talked about it before, but the LA Dodgers Shohei Ohtani is shocked that the interpreter stole money. But at least Ohtani has admitted he's never bet on sports, and he is shocked. So in the Los Angeles Times, after the interview today that took place, the LA Dodgers, Shohei Ohtani announced that he never bet on sports or knowingly paid any gambling debts accumulated by his longtime interpreter, Ippei Mizuhara. So instead, the LA Dodgers star claims his close friend lied to him for years and stole millions from the two-time MVP. So Ohtani gave his version of the events during a news conference at Dodger Stadium just about 5 days after Mizuhara was fired. And this was in the wake of it because a lot of people thought this was going to be the Pete Rose treatment or the rest of it. So the inquiring says at least $4.5 million in wire transfers were sent from Ohtani's bank account to a Southern California bookmaking operation that is under federal investigation. So, as we've said, the Japanese star said, "I'm very saddened and shocked someone whom I trusted has done this. Ippei has been stealing money from my account and has been telling lies. I never bet on sports or have willingly sent money to the bookmakers." So, this now is the fact. Shohei Ohtani never bet on sports at all, that's including baseball, and that the interpreter, Ippei Mizuhara, ended up stealing $4.5 million from his bank account because he has gambling problems and apparently that he has some debts that he owes. And listen, it's very important. Keep up with your bills. Keep up with all this because nobody wants to owe anybody any money. It's not a good look. And so in the end, Mizuhara is now fired. Shohei Ohtani is now looking for a new interpreter. And hey, if you're bilingual, you're Japanese speaking and you're American speaking as well, you're looking to take on an interpreting job, go and ask the LA Dodgers. Because, I mean, that would be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to basically be Shohei Ohtani's interpreter, be that close to be arguably one of the greatest stars in baseball currently. So, yeah, so the truth is out. And like I said, I was never going to be outraged by it. All I needed was the facts. And finally, I do have the facts. All right, so March Madness tournament as well has been heating up. And as we're looking at a bunch of scores, so in women's basketball, as of right now, Iowa, West Virginia is currently playing now. Iowa's up on a 4-point lead, 19-15, end of the first half. And honestly, you're witnessing one of the greatest right now to play. So in women's college basketball, the ratings have been much higher this year versus the men's college tournament this year. It is now on a record-breaking ground scale. I think part of this has to deal with everybody has been tuning into arguably number one overall prospect and arguably one of the greatest women's college players that has ever set foot in college basketball, in Caitlin Clark. So, look, I've said over and over again that this year with the men's college tournament, it's been a snooze fest. I have not really gotten any wows at all in the men's tournament, but this is good for women. This is honestly a great day for women's college basketball, and especially when you've got arguably one of the best in Caitlin Clark. And so to me, I mean, I love this. I love every bit of it. Women's college basketball, by the way, has been so competitive, and it's fun to watch. Many people who don't agree, go watch it. You're witnessing arguably one of the best college basketball prospects in women's college basketball currently right now. And on top of it, by the time that she's in the WNBA, I mean, she's going to thrive. I mean, amongst Asia Wilson, amongst Kelsey Plum, Brianna Stewart, many other women's basketball athletes. I mean, she is honestly the embodiment of what women's sports is meant to be. We're witnessing greatness. It's on the women's side of things. And again, for many people, listen, for those machismo heads that are out there that are so disappointed and so pissed off, get with the program and get better. That's all I can say. Because the men's college basketball tournament, even though that it has been entertaining, it really hasn't been all that, if you ask me. But again, next year, hopefully, it'll be different. I think ultimately it'll be very, very different next season, and I hope that it is, because in the end, I mean, I would never want to end up watching a snooze fest again. Okay, so San Francisco 49ers, some news here that we got from the team. So John Lynch, the 49ers general manager, has basically, they shared a laugh as they were standing on the sideline in Michigan's Pro Day last week between him and Pittsburgh Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin. Basically shared when they said they brought up the Niners wide receiver Brandon Ayuk. Now, the speculation about Ayuk's future with the team has persisted for more than a year and reached a crescendo this offseason as Ayuk prepares for the final year of his rookie contract. That includes rumor trades all over the NFL map, including Tomlin's Steelers. So, as of right now, from what we were told, is that John Lynch has announced that Brandon Ayuk is not available for trade as contract talks are underway. Now, this was stated by Brandon Ayuk's social media because he did end up commenting on it on his story. Now, do I think this is heating up a lot of contract negotiation talks? Maybe, maybe not. But, I mean, the Niners without Brandon Ayuk, now they do have Deebo Samuel, they do have George Kittle, and they do have Juwan Jennings. They do have a lot of real good pieces. But if you ask me, what are the Niners without Brandon Ayuk? The Niners would honestly be a divisional round team. I'll be honest. Divisional round team, and that is it. I would not see them as a NFC championship caliber team. Brandon Ayuk is very special, and he's honestly emerged as one of the best receivers. Now, he's not the top, but he's one of the best receivers in the NFL. But basically, what he's looking for is he's looking for guaranteed, he's looking for locked-in money, which is what a lot of these NFL athletes want. That's what they're striving for. But I think the Niners will get a contract deal done because they're going to have to. You can't afford to lose a young star like Brandon Ayuk, especially if he's going into his 5th year, like the last year of his final contract. You're just not going to let him walk. And neither are you going to open up these trade talks. I don't believe these for a second at all. So I think the Niners and John Lynch made it very clear. Brandon Ayuk is not for sale, and they're going to have a contract at the very least, probably by draft night, is what I'm expecting and anticipating. Because, again, if the Niners end up looking for wide receiver in the draft, I'd be pretty shocked. And there's multiple reasons that could end up happening. So I think Brandon Ayuk, for many reasons, I think they're going to get a deal done. I don't see them drafting a receiver. If they do, I'll be shocked. But I think part of that reason is maybe the two haven't been able to see face-to-face. But I doubt that's going to happen. I think the Niners will get a contract done, and Brandon Ayuk will be with the team this next up-and-coming season. All right, that's going to do it here for the news.
This is the Hot Press.
Coming up next, we're going to be talking about the Minnesota Vikings, the Denver Broncos, several other teams. And by the way, the New York Giants now have basically come out and said they have gotten the okay to draft a quarterback. What does this mean now for the rest of the teams that are going to be drafting in the top 10s? Because this is now starting to heat up pretty big. And I am curious to see what a lot of your guys' thoughts may be into this. All right, so right now, and I'm going to announce this here in the coming days, but the Snake Sports Talk Show is now officially partnered with Fanatics. Fanatics, with one of the best designs from thousands of different designs, the different styles of clothing and accessories from all of your favorite sports and all of your favorite sports teams, from the NBA, the NFL, the NHL, and Major League Baseball, and more. Fanatics has every single option for you to choose from. Go to fanatics.com. We will have everything posted up as well, where to go to and where to start shopping for your favorite team, and shop your favorite designs and gears through fanatics.com.
Check out the Con Man live on the Sports Corner, coming to a screen near you, giving you the greatest stories from basketball legends you've never seen before. Sharing their glory, building the toughness, and how they show off their swag. But only one man knows all that, and that's the Con Man. Join Michael Conceição, the Con Man, at the Sports Corner, Fridays at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 Pacific on Sports Wave Network.
Want to find your seat for the event of your choice but can't get one that fits your desire or your budget? Well, my friends, SeatGeek has you covered. SeatGeek is the official sponsor of the Snake Sports Talk Show. With a list of over hundreds of events to choose from, SeatGeek will assure you that you won't miss your seat with the amazing view of your choice at the most affordable price. Whether it's looking for your best seat in the house of your favorite sports team, finding live concerts to get you closer to your favorite artist, or enjoying your spot at your favorite live shows, comedies, and more, SeatGeek has it all just for you. Go online to SeatGeek.com or download the app on your mobile device through Google Play and the App Store. And as a special offer before checkout, use promo code SNAKESPORTS and save yourself $20 off of your purchase of your first ticket and experience why SeatGeek is the most trusted ticketing app for your next event. Remember, that's SeatGeek.com and download the app on your phone with promo code SNAKESPORTS for $20 off and find your seat with SeatGeek.
Listen up, sports fans. Your favorite sportsbook, BetUS.com, is back for our 28th year of NFL action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers our members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite sports, including NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. We've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest new European slots, and our live dealers are waiting for you at the table. Sign up at BetUS.com today to get into the action. BetUS, where the game begins.
Snake Sports Talk Show is sponsored by Muscle Tech, with hundreds of supplements and vitamins to choose from, all packed with 100% all-natural proven ingredients. You can be sure that Muscle Tech will give you the edge and the boost to train and look like your fit and healthy best, whatever your goals are. Try Muscle Tech today and use promo code SNAKESPORTS to save 30% off your purchases.
I absolutely love it when I'm America's honesty mind, honestly. It's a big job. I'm not going to be America's honesty broker because I do not hold that title, as most of you may know. A lot of people have always commented and basically have said, I am like the honesty mind Colin Cowherd. I know how to balance a lot of these things. I know exactly how to basically break down and give you the most balanced opinion possible. So, and again, I love doing what I do. It's fun. It's my favorite. And so for everybody to finally get a gist of what this looks like, to finally get a gist of this, we finally have facts on Shohei Ohtani and his interpreter. And the interpreter, good thing they fired the right guy, because he just took advantage of Shohei. And like I said before, I've been talking with many people off the air, basically saying like, because I want to know from the interpreter's side this whole thing. And then now I've got facts. I've got many evidences to support the cases. Shohei Ohtani is a freed man. So, as I've said before, I think ultimately Shohei is not to blame for this. And the interpreter stealing $4.5 million with a gambling problem and basically lying to his closest friend. And I've often wondered, has this been carrying on since their days in Japan? Because if this has, it makes more sense. That's why I said I was never going to end up getting emotional behind this. I was never going to get outraged behind this entire talk. I was never going to do that. But I think it's very clear now. We understand it. Shohei Ohtani's a free man, and rightfully so. We can finally get back into baseball, and we can finally enjoy baseball for a very long time. So I want to shift to this. So the NFL, it's been cooking as far as what we might end up seeing from the draft. Now, multiple teams, and now lots more have basically emerged. So Giants owner John Mara gives the green light to draft a quarterback, even though they've signed Daniel Jones to a $160 million contract, paying him $45 million a year, which, by the way, was the dumbest move that the Giants could possibly do. And so now John Mara, the owner, is trying to make things right for Giants fans. Because I know many people that cover Giants football. They're outraged. They're pissed. They don't like this. I don't blame them, not one bit. I think ultimately, when you start to look into this, Daniel Jones is not the guy. You paid the wrong guy. Saquon Barkley and a lot of people are basically outraged by it, and including one, Tiki Barber, who basically says, Saquon Barkley's dead to us. Nobody cares. That's fine. You could go ahead and you can honestly, you could be okay with the whole thing. That's fine. I don't care. Like I said, like your feelings will not matter when it comes to somebody's opinion, somebody's decisions. Saquon, as I've said before, he's disappointed with the organization. They paid the wrong player. Instead, Daniel Jones gets $45 million a year, and by the way, he should be sharing that with Brian Daboll, because Daboll ultimately is the reason behind why he got the contract, why he got the big payday. The Giants have been feeding this whole idea that he's the next big thing. No, he's not. When was the last time that a Duke quarterback, besides Riley Leonard, oh, and by the way, he transferred to Notre Dame because even he knows, I'm not going to be the next big thing out of Duke. I don't want that title. That's why your Notre Dames, your USCs, your Alabamas, your LSUs, many of them, they produce great quarterbacks. Even Michigan with J.J. McCarthy. So the Giants now are in the market to now potentially draft a quarterback, which means the 6 teams that are the top 6 teams right now in the NFL draft is the Bears. They're obviously going to take Caleb Williams. I don't see this any other way possible. The Washington Commanders, they're going to take a quarterback. They're not going to end up missing out. And I think from what I've heard and what's heating up, they're probably going to take Jaden Daniels, which is fine with me. The Patriots are going to take a quarterback, and they should. Ultimately, I think the quarterback they should take is Drake May. East Coast kid. They've got a left tackle. The only thing you'll have to do is you'll have to build some weapons around him. And we know New England is not great for that. But that is ultimately the direction I think that New England's going to go. Then there's Arizona. I'm now hearing that Arizona could potentially trade the number 4 pick. But who would you trade it with? Right now, the teams that are on the bottom looking above are the Broncos, the Vikings, and the Raiders. Those are the 3 teams that could potentially move into that number 4 spot. Now, I know some of them have basically talked with the Chargers, but the Chargers are not going to move out of number 5. Not after they just traded away Keenan Allen. They're going to want the best wide receiver in the class. And ultimately, I think it might be Malik Neighbors, in my opinion. Great route runner. He's got great hands. Somebody from wide receiver U at LSU. I'm not going to risk trading the pick. I'm not going to do that. So Arizona's the only team. Now, potentially, some people believe that the Washington Commanders could draft J.J. McCarthy, but how sure are they? If that were the case, the whole thing would just absolutely explode. The whole draft would absolutely explode. But I think because of this reason is, and some of it you kind of have to give kudos to Jim Harbaugh on. Jim Harbaugh has been hyping up his quarterback all throughout this offseason. I don't blame him. And I think it's a great sales pitch. So by that case, J.J. McCarthy may end up being a number 2 quarterback taken off the draft board. And if that's the case, Jaden Daniels is available. Drake May is available. Bo Nix, Michael Penix, they're available. By the way, don't sleep on Spencer Rattler and Joe Milton and Sam Hartman. Those are other quarterbacks that are on the bottom tier of the list. But I think they could also be very lethal. So, but I think if you were the Raiders, Here's the very tempting part is that, are you going to give me your star player? Max Crosby's not going anywhere. Don't feed me this narrative that, oh, the Raiders, they're probably going to end up trading away Max Crosby if they want to end up getting the number 4 or the 4 or the 6 pick. They're not going to do that. Okay? They've already instilled their pass rush. They've already got Christian Wilkins, so they have a duo at their pass rush. They do. The Raiders are not going to do that. And Max Crosby loves the Raiders. He'll be a Raider for life. But I think ultimately, if you want to have the option, if you're the Raiders, I would say maybe move up a little bit, but not too much to where you have to give up a player at the end of it. I think ultimately what may work is I think Michael Penix might work with the Raiders. That's my personal opinion. So the team that could make sense, because the other one you've got is the Denver Broncos, and they should go and draft a quarterback. I think ultimately the quarterbacks that work with the Denver Broncos would be J.J. McCarthy and Bo Nix. And the only reason of this is because Sean Payton's a very emotional guy. He's very invested, and he's very passionate, and he wants to win games. He's changing the culture of the Broncos. I'm hearing it all over in the Denver area. They want a quarterback, and from what it sounds like Bo Nix or J.J. McCarthy would be the answer. Okay? And so I think ultimately Denver could make a move, but I don't know if they have enough that they could basically move up higher than that. I don't know if they do. Now, this now leaves the Minnesota Vikings, and you know my boy Rap would absolutely love my take for this one. But right now, Minnesota, what do they have to offer to basically go up to number 4 in the draft? They've got the number 11, and they have the number 23 pick in the draft. That is very attractive. To go in and getting a number 4, I mean, if the Chargers did not end up trading away Keenan Allen, oh yeah, they'd be all over it. They'd be all over it. Trade up for 5. We'll get the 11th. We'll get Brian Thomas, and we'll get Brock Bowers. That sounds like a hell of a deal. But now, gameplay has changed. So I think ultimately, Minnesota wants a quarterback very badly. And I've seen this coming. And the reason of this is because, Sam Darnold, he's a bridge quarterback. So you're not going to just rely on Sam Darnold to be your every single day quarterback. You're just not going to do that. So I think ultimately you're going to have a bridge. You're going to draft your next successor. And so that by the time, if Darnold makes mistakes, you can build up the next quarterback from there. You can do that. So ultimately, I think J.J. McCarthy would work in Minnesota. I think Jaden Daniels would definitely work in Minnesota. And I also do think Bo Nix would work in Minnesota, and possibly Michael Penix. Why wouldn't anybody love this Minnesota job? I've got Justin Jefferson. I've got Jordan Addison. I've got TJ Hawkinson. I've got Aaron Jones. I got a hell of an offense. I just need a quarterback to rein the helm. And then ultimately, the offensive line is going to get better. You've got second-year, third-year stars that are coming in here in the offensive line. And maybe they'll end up addressing multiple other offensive linemen in the draft later on. They probably could. I could see them doing that. But I think Minnesota seems to be the one that makes logical sense. Because if I'm the Raiders, I'm only moving slightly because I don't want to end up giving up capital. Neither do I want to end up giving up a star player. And that's reasonable. Because ultimately, I mean, look at some of the teams that are right there below them. You've got the Titans, you've got the Jets. But ultimately, what I've heard is that the Jets could possibly either be getting a receiver or a tight end. Now, most people are anticipating Brock Bowers might be the pick. But in the end, there's so much to look at. Now, the Giants being in the middle of this mix, you know that they don't trust Daniel Jones, and they regret it. So John Mara, the owner, has to make it right yet again, because Dave Gettleman had all of this mess in 11 years when they only had one winning season. So now you got to draft your next successor, and I've told you so. It was never going to work with the Giants. Many people have spoken about it. Entertainer Sports Talk, Bad Dog Sports, Nikki Gist, multiple people that I know that are close with the New York Giants are all pissed because they basically took all the money and gambled it on Daniel Jones. So, yeah. There's a lot of quarterback talk, but I love it. By the way, guys, in the coming days, I will have my mock draft. Don't you worry. I will have my mock draft. I will have everything up and stored. You do not want to end up missing out on that. All right? But ultimately, I don't think that's crazy. I don't think it's nuts. But the quarterback talks have been heating up. This draft, just like in free agency, has been so exciting. So many different moves, many player mobilities everywhere. And I think ultimately, so are draft mobility. You're trading up, you're trading down. Jim Harbaugh even stated that they're going to get the number one best player, not a quarterback, but the number one best player at a position in the draft. That's what it feels like for the Chargers. They're going to get the number one overall pick. It's not going to be a quarterback. So a lot of people that keep thinking that the Chargers are going to draft J.J. McCarthy, stop it. They're not going to do that. That's just asinine. I don't think it's going to be worth it at all. But I do think they may end up drafting the best at their position, which it could be. It could very well be Malik Neighbors. That's what I feel like could be the pick. Or it could be Marvin Harrison Jr., or it could be Roma Dunze. Whatever the case may be. But other picks in the draft from all the way down to 10, they're looking at offensive linemen, they're looking at wide receivers, and they're probably going to end up looking at a tight end potentially. But that's the call. That's the look. So expect the draft night, because I'm going to be sitting there up on my couch. I've got my popcorn ready. I'm going to be watching it all unfold. Now, for those that may know, I also do cover Chargers content as well. Never, ever throwing my homer at all on this show, because that's not what we do. We're very balanced. We're very unbiased. And I always give my opinionated talks as balanced as I possibly can and honest and reasonable. That's why a lot of you love this show. But that's going to do it here for me tonight here on the Snake Sports Talk Show. Man, I'm really glad. I deserve the break from a lot of the interviews. But either way, we got more interviews on the way. If for those of you who have missed out on previous episodes or on previous interviews, I encourage you guys to go and check out previous episodes and previous interviews. We have a whole all-star cast lineup of the interviews, from Kim Becker to James Canada to Rod Smith. Many, many great insights. The NFL has just been great with producing content for all of us. But we'll have more along on the horizon. You guys do not want to end up missing out on that. Show is sponsored by BetUS and SeatGeek. BetUS, sign up today on BetUS. When you put $100 more in your deposit, you will then get a free entry into the $10K contest during the Sweet 16 of the March Madness tournament. Don't miss out on that. Also, on SeatGeek.com. Download it also on your mobile device to Google Play in the App Store. Whatever your next event may be, next sporting event, next concert with your favorite artist to get close to, and also your favorite comedy shows, whatever it may be. Download it now. Use promo code SNAKESPORTS and get $20 off of your first ticket purchase as a way of saying thank you for using the most trusted ticketing app on the market. That's SeatGeek.com. Don't lose your seat with SeatGeek and BetUS, where the game begins. Appreciate you guys being here up on the show with us tonight. This is Jake Silva signing off. Have a great night, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Snake Sports Talk Show. Take care, guys.